people in the audience about what they think heritage means. Can some people please put up that? Yes, please.
Something that we inherit from our ancestors.
Okay.
That's heritage.
Anybody else? Well, the idea of, well, you said it very well, but when you look at the media and when you ask the common man, mostly it is about the old city. Everybody says saving the old city is about saving your heritage. So when about 2.5 years ago, the Ahmedabad put in its claim to get itself nominated for World Heritage City Daipur from UNESCO. That's when I thought that maybe let us find out let us start some kind of a process whereby people can understand what is heritage. It is not only about tangible buildings. It is about all of us. So this whole idea started with the Facebook page called Ahmedabad for WHC, which started several events in the city, asking this question and holding workshops for children and doing things in the old city primarily, but questioning about what heritage means to all of us. This slowly led to what I'm going to show you today. Even though the presentation first slide may be misleading, but it starts with my own journey about questioning what is heritage and how from House of MG, which was a restoration so-called project, it is actually an adaptive reuse project. It is a revitalization project, is now slowly moving towards the softer side of what is our heritage. And I would like to take you through maybe 20-minute presentation about what this is, show you the tool that we have developed, which perhaps I'm hoping that all of you can use to create a wonderful map of Ahmedabad, and then maybe take some questions. So what you see is trying to understand who I am through my heritage. Yeah. In a world which is largely becoming global, through the McDonald's. So in this definition which I found, the concept of change, I think, is crucial, critical when we are talking about heritage. It is not about preservation, it is about preservation and change. And I think when one gets too obsessed with preservation and forgets change, it becomes a fossil. And there are people who would argue that this is necessary. I have full respect for that, but I am personally not interested. So this journey started from House of MG. Perhaps some of you have seen it. It's opposite City Side Jali. It showcases local heritage, which includes lifestyle. Essentially, it's a lifestyle, including the architecture, food, products, handicrafts. Please go on. There is a global audience that we cater to. But I found that to reach this stage, to get one house restored from what it was to what it is now, took me over a decade. I thought that, okay, it's great, I learned a lot, but I am not interested in doing more houses like this. So what should I do? What should I do with the domain knowledge that I have acquired? And how to maximize the impact with that knowledge? So I find that with intangible heritage that is possible. So one of the initiatives is to introduce handicraft products. There is a special shop in the hotel called Local Artisan, where we invite contemporary artists, designers from around the world, from within India, to create products with artisans from Ahmedabad. We've started documenting all the recipes, and we've come out with a series of cookbooks, as well as we've done recipe videos, and now we are working on an app. Okay. And finally, to go on the net, to go on a mobile phone. So you explore, which is the initiative, is to try and map the heritage of Ahmedabad and map the heritage of everybody living in Ahmedabad. So we have started by providing the platform on a Google map. How many of you are familiar with Google Map beyond taking you from A to B? Most of you use it to go from A to B, right? But Google Map is much more than that. Google Map actually has a host of features which allows you to actually map places and share it with people. However, it's not as user-friendly as perhaps we would like it to be. So people are not using it beyond going from A to B. And therefore we created a platform called UExplore, which sits on Google Map, but it's a software, it's a technology which is like a layer, which I'll show you. So this is how the page looks. Please go on. So what it is a Culturepedia map that bridges the physical context with a geomapped virtual one. And it is a rich reservoir of curated information that also lets you map your own stories and share them. Okay? When Snehal was beginning his presentation, he was sharing with us several architectural monuments around Ahmedabad, but it wasn't clear where they were geographically. And it would have been great if this information was, in a sense, connected to where it was, and a relationship between the different monuments was apparent, and the communities around it were somehow made some sense to understand how did they build these places, where they built them, what was the reason for it. This is where the social context and our question was very relevant. What about the communities, around these places? And one is curious to know, and one will be curious. That time there was no such mapping available, but now that there is, your friends would be curious to know how you live, where you go to pray, what you eat at home, and in context to Ahmedabad city. And on Facebook, we tend to take certain pictures, and now you can actually see where you are on the map, but there is no database that you can create which really maps everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. So I'll give you some examples of why, the stories behind the buildings, the meaning behind the traditions, the characteristics of the diversity that we live in is what we want to map. So for instance, who is this gentleman? Where is he standing? I'd like to know his story. It's very much part of his, incidentally, Dhangadra Bapu. What is this idol? And what is it wearing, and where is it located? Go on. And so on. Who is this woman and what is she wearing? And how are all these things connected to each other? That's my family. So who are these people and where are they now? So Google even allows you time lag between different time frames. Essentially, our map, which you can see at uexplore.in, is a collection of public information. We haven't loaded any private information, but public information of all of Ahmedabad. You will find approximately 300 places which are on it, which I will try and share with you if the internet is fast enough. And to go one step beyond, we have tied up with Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation to create what is called a QR code. Are you familiar with the QR code that you see at a lot of places. So we have created these QR codes which Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation will put on signages which will be put at the site. So anybody can go and with a mobile phone scan the QR code and see more, learn more about it. Not only that, we have even put the QR codes on the products that we sell in the shop. Because let's say we have a doll here from Kutch. Normally it would have a label. It's not possible to have a printed label for everything. So we created a QR code where the information is sitting on our map over here, and on the label in the shop there is a QR code. How to connect, and people can just scan it and take the story home with them. Similarly, we are QR coding tangible and intangible heritage this way. Go on. If it works, I could show you. Shall I show on my? Does anybody have a QR code? Do we have the QR code scanner? Has anybody used QR codes before?
Yes.
Yeah? You can even put it on a hoarding and you can from your car scan it like that. So I'll try and scan one just for those of you who haven't seen it and show you what happens. So it's an app which you download from the net for free, QR code scanner. It's available both on Android and Apple and even Nokia. Okay. So I scanned it. And it automatically takes me to the U-Explore map and tells me what this is. So imagine that if everything which was of interest had an interest label which you could scan, and that information could be updated at any time, so you save the cost on printing brochures, and the tourism department and people coming in, they don't need maps, they just have everything on the phone. That is the advantage of doing QR coding. And not only that, to connecting it to a live map is something which is innovation, I think. Mostly they are connected to a website. When you scan a QR code, it takes you to a website of that product. So this is the MOU with the Municipal Corporation. Hopefully we've sent in the data. Maybe if things work well, within a few months we'll have the signs up. We are also doing a Delhi map with the World Monument Fund, and it will be ready in another month. So you will be able to share with friends itineraries, places to visit, etc. using these maps. Oh, this is just a map, diagram showing how it works. Go on. And we want to, we've got Ahmedabad, we want to slowly scan, put in as many cities as we can by collaborating with different organizations. Can you go to the map before you end here? So this is the map. You have different categories here. Can you please click on historic, open the, So you have all the different monuments. Just click on the monuments. Can you select all the monuments together? Can you expand it? So these are the monuments, and then you click on them and you see the information inside. We've got videos as well as photographs. and just click on the explore button. It will be too slow to show you the videos, but I'll just quickly go through what all it does. Very often, we go to a monument, but we don't know what's around. So if you go to Siddhi Sahib Jali, how many people know that Siddhi is just next door? Very few. How many people know which are the artisans who live right outside the Jama Masjid? Or what are the other monuments which are just a walk away? The guidebook doesn't tell you. Or if it tells you, it doesn't tell you how to go there. So with this map, if you go to a particular place and you look at it and you want to know what's around here, you hit an explore button and it automatically shows you all the sites. Can you get out of the thing so we can show? Yeah. And expand there, please. So around that mosque that we saw, all these places are around. Just click on any of them. So there is another mosque and tomb just around the one that we saw earlier, and we can explore it, and it even shows you how to get there. Okay. Now, so this is quite clear. If you have any questions, we can make it interactive right now, because I just want to quickly go through the features of this map. We even have something called tours. Let's go to the heritage walks. How many of you have done the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation walk? Okay, so if many of us recommend the walk to our friends, but if they say, what does it show you? We are not sure. What we can do here is actually, this is the Mangaldas walk, I think.
Yes.
House of MG walk. Okay, it's the same thing, but we have House of MG walk also listed here. It actually takes you to the route, showing each place on the way, and you can share this with friends on Facebook or Twitter or on your email by copying it. At the same time, suppose you want to add a few places along the way and send that to your friends. So we have something whereby you can sign in. Just sign in as yourself. I would really like it if some of you try this later and tell me what you think. You can create your own account just by putting in an email and a password. And just create your own place marker. We can create place marks of our own and add photos, videos and text to it. Just do nonsense text, it's okay. So automatically a place mark was added, which you can add to that map and share it, or you can create your own map. Lot of us want to share heritage of Ahmedabad. How do we do it at the moment? When you want to talk about, you have to either send entire Sneha's presentation to somebody, which is difficult to do, or
Send Sneha.
Or the Ahmedabad book, which is very popular, the Ahmedabad, the Times of India book on heritage of Ahmedabad is very popular. Or you tell them, look at Lonely Planet Guide. So at the hotel, we have guests with a map of Ahmedabad and a guidebook of Ahmedabad. Sitting and poring over it and looking at the guidebook and looking at the map and trying to mark it, and constantly they are walking around everywhere in the city with these two, and I'm sure when you travel somewhere you do the same thing. This is not necessary, and we can actually either download ready-made tours from a service like this, or create our own and share it with our friends so they can actually discover heritage of Ahmedabad. And I think in our bid to become a World Heritage City, to have a map like this, to have signage like this, to have people making their own maps and sharing their heritage with each other will be a big step. And I think unless you try it out with your photographs and videos, we had a classroom with Alliance Française students, and we are going to encourage them to maybe during the Heritage Week create their maps and share it with each other. And it would be great if people have questions and they email us, we'll arrange tutorials. There is a tutorial right here. Can you show the tutorial? Not the tutorial, where it is. Under help. There is a tutorial which shows you how the map works. It's in video, and within I think 10 minutes you can reasonably create your own maps. Okay, let's get out of this. This map, as I said, is a public map. If you create your map, you can share it either privately or publicly. So things that you create doesn't have to come to us at all. It can go directly to people you send it to. So I think as far as I'll share these, you can pass them around. If you like, take one and pass them around. For today, Philip, what I'd like to do is I just wanted to share this map, not really talk about House of MG or anything. And if you have any questions, you can ask me for how to use this map or whether you would like any help. Yes?
You just said that whatever landmark you are putting on the map can be shared publicly.
Yes.
So it means that whomsoever will open the map will get the
No, with the specific person you share it with.
I see.
If you want it on the master map, then it has to go via admin.
Okay, okay. So because my question was actually to know from where this data which is available for everyone, from where does it come?
This data has been edited and curated by House of MG by keeping a team of editors.
Okay, okay. So there's an editorial team which created this data. Okay.
But for Delhi map, we've tied up with World Monument Fund and Intact Delhi, who have fantastic archival information. So that is there. And for, let's say, for the archive of Alliance Française, if you wanted to make it private, you could have your own map using this tool, which you don't have to share with somebody. But if you want some part of it on the main map, you could do that too.
I see.
For architects, if they wish to show all the buildings that they've created till now on a map, geotagged, they could use the map as well. So there are many ways of using this. Yes?
Do you have a category like somebody would like to be on the Buddha architecture or something like that?
We have made categories, as you can see on the left. We have within modern architecture, we don't have wooden architecture as a category, but we have monuments, and we are going to add restored homes, in Ahmedabad. But as a wooden architecture category, it will become slightly, this is more of a general map, not a specialist map for architecture.
Or if somebody would like to see,
You can create it.
it's very difficult for somebody to see all the monuments and because they have already team and they must have all the knowledge also. If you can separate some categories like that also, some religion-wise categories.
It is possible. We have categories under, just go to religious sites. As you can see, you can select what you want to see in the religious sites. And there are mosques as well as temples, as well as Jain temples, as well as, different. But in homes, that categorization we haven't done. Yeah.
One thing that I was thinking is that all the listing right now is a permanent listing. Is it possible for you to have what is coming up in next week? For example, right now, this week, you have events at the Sausage, you have events at the Heritage Film Festival, you have events in Metrani, tomorrow you have the Craft of Art. It becomes very difficult for you to know what's going on where at what time. If a person comes in Ahmedabad and if he has 3 days, apart from these things, he may also be interested in knowing what's going on.
But it's so easy. It's a very good question. It's so easy to use this map for that. Imagine, because Heritage Week is not really coordinated by any one person.
Right.
But if, suppose, you had compiled all the information and made a calendar, which was available as a calendar that Alliance Française shared, but that was all events here, as well as other events. And if you clicked on it, it took you to a map with all the events.
Integration will be very
It's very easy. You could do it on this map, because you could show the location of it and what's happening on it just by putting the date on top. That's it. So you can use it for calendars. I know you are interested in those mapping things. Anybody else?
How long it took you, how many people it involved between the editorial people, the people who created that interface? How does it work behind the curtain, behind that?
This started with a lot of information that we had on Google Map shared by our Facebook group, which has over 4,000 members. And it was a data dump and we needed to layer it. So, or rather organize it, and Google didn't allow it then to do so. Now it does. It allows you to layer information, but it doesn't allow you to put multimedia information when you layer it. So it just allows you to put text. Because Google didn't allow it, we had to do it. We were not trying to make a business out of it. It's free. So we tied up with a university in Washington, which sends its students for 6 months, and we had 3 sets of students who spent over a year and a half working on this project, right from designing the interface. The whole user interface is the most difficult thing to do. You think it's very simple, that it makes sense like this, but to create this design took a lot of time to create it the way it is, and then work with the software company. We've tied up with the software company who did this, and of course the information through the editorial team, and we have got the information from various sources in Ahmedabad and compiled it and edited it and put it here. Okay. It took about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's quite fast. And this project was taken from another project which already exists in other parts of the world. Or did you adapt it?
There are many maps. I don't know how many of you know, but I'll give you some names. You should look them up if you travel. There is a map called Triposo. Triposo is an app on the phone. You can download it, and there is a map with TripAdvisor as well, which lets you download offline maps, because offline is very important. If you go to a foreign country, you keep your 3G off because it's expensive. So if you have an offline map of, let's say, Bangalore or wherever you are traveling abroad, Dubai or London, then you can explore the city with the offline map. So TripAdvisor has those, Triposo also has those. Those are the better ones, but there are a host of them. But to answer your question, these are specifically tourist related maps. Secondly, the information there is collected through a crawler. On the website there is something called a web crawling, where an algorithm you put in, and that algorithm goes to certain shareware sites and picks up information and dumps it over here. So they tell you that the information has come from these sources, but you are not sure of the authenticity of it, A, and B, it's not curated. So the quality of it is slightly mixed. So this effort is not towards making a tourist friendly map, which it is incidentally, but the idea was more to share the idea of heritage and to participate in mapping your heritage. The idea was more that, and I think that in that particular field, I have not come across any other map like this.
Is there any way we can suggest some sites or some category which you have missed out?
Of course. Because this is an organic thing to keep growing. We want to put in stories. Of course, we would welcome it. There is no funding just now for this. The Gujarat Tourism is saying that we'd love to make a map, but let us see how Ahmedabad goes. So we'll see. And but beyond the main map, for your own purpose, as I was trying to explain, you can share it and start using it right away. You know? Yes. Because the most important thing about our heritage is that we want to share it. Why do we want to be UNESCO certified city? Why? We are already there. But we want to tell everybody that we are there, and we want to protect and create policies and create a certain system whereby whatever we have is preserved. And the best way to do it is to share information. Most people don't even know the tools that we showed. Some of them I hadn't seen. I felt ashamed that I'm here and I haven't seen.
We might have passed by
very often. And there are so many things. This is tangible heritage, but imagine the intangible heritage, the artisans, the food. I mean, in the old city, the kind of food that is available and the kind of recipes that are there is no emphasis put on that. But that is very much part of our heritage. The clothing, the tailors, the skills. So if we can map it, at least we know that it's available. So if you go, let's go to artisan for a second. Just remove this. We have all these artisans, okay? These are all the artisans of Ahmedabad. We had NIT students going and documenting them and videotaping them and photographing them. So you have a wonderful documentation which we are sharing with everybody of artisans of Ahmedabad with videos and photos and addresses. So you can actually go there and put them to use. Now, when foreign designers ask me that, okay, who are the designers who are the artisans we'll be working with, I just send them a map and this video or documentation. So we have just select all the artisans and maybe video won't run. But you could do that for recipes. For even a recipe book which I shared, they are from different parts of Gujarat. So we are planning to do a whole food map of Gujarat. We are planning to do an artisan map of India.